Hi, everybody. How's it going? Oh my goodness. I do not have my act together today, and that's okay. This is Cozy Midweek Motivation. Hi, Abby Jean. This is Cozy Midweek Motivation, not with Sock. Not Sock totally has her act together at all times. No makeup, but I do have my tiara. My hair is wet from having washed it fairly recently. Mm. So, I do have some coffee. Hey, Nicole. So this morning I woke up at like 6, I think it was, thereabouts. And then what happened? Had breakfast, did some stuff. I finished reading a book for Monday's live stream, science fiction. And I did some puttering around the house. And then I went to a library to get some books for Monday's live stream. And while I was there, they had an alcove with some books for sale. Hey, Stormy, you remembered. Yay! Anyway, they had some books for sale in this alcove, and they actually had a little basket of free books. So I availed myself. So I have a book haul for that. Hey, Anna. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And then after I got my books that I checked out from the library and that I purchased and that were freebies, I went walking in the woods for the first time in ages. So I traipsed around the woods for like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. And then by then it was like 11:30 or so. So on the way home, I decided to stop off at the Ampac Mini Mart for the pause that refreshes for a cola. And I realized I was right by China City, which was already open for the day. So I called my mom and I said, "Are you hungry?" And she said, "I just ate a couple of pedophores and had a cup of coffee because I was so hungry." And I said, "Well, I'm right by China City." And she said, "Oh, are you now? That's very interesting." So I got a couple of egg rolls and some roast pork lo mein, brought it home. We ate it, and then it was only then, after we had lunch and stuff, that I took the thumbnail and set up the live stream because I was just running behind. Then I washed my hair. Well, I changed the sheets, washed my hair. I still have a bunch of laundry to fold, but that's not happening. And then just finished getting set up for the live stream and exchanged some news and views with friends far and near. And that was my day so far. And incidentally, I'm going to keep this a little on the short side today because Tea and Biscuits are having sprints. And I think that's on Tara's channel, but it might be on B's. I don't remember. But they're doing theirs at 7 Eastern, so in about 5 hours. And so I am going to, hopefully, I'll be energetic enough to participate, but it would probably help if I had a nap or something first. So that's the deal. Anyway, having just, washed my hair and stuff, I haven't done any makeup. My eyebrows are just like going so far and no further. And yeah, Abby Jean says, I can't wait to get out hiking some more this spring. It's been raining a lot and I don't have the equipment to fight mud. Hmm. We don't actually get a lot of mud when it rains. The mud and the tricky bits kind of come from below. Although when I was out today, I did see some pretty deep wheel ruts from some sort of motorized. Um, they weren't big enough to be a full on motorcycle, but like maybe like a motorized dirt bike or something. And so there was some water collecting in there, but it was easy to avoid. So I actually already did 10 minutes of yuck today. My mom and I did a little house cleaning somewhere along the line. And so I'm going to use my 10 minutes to just relax and enjoy some coffee and that kind of thing. Maybe I'll catch up on the news. That'll definitely be 10 minutes of yuck. Anyway, so are we ready to do 10 minutes of yuck, or do people want to say some more stuff, share their days, anything like that before we start? Mm. This coffee, by the way, has some almond milk in it and also a little bit of English toffee flavored syrup. It's very nice. Abby Jean says, I have been feeling super tired lately. I was going to clean the coffee table during the 10 minutes of yuck, but then I'd have to get up. I got up and then I came back to bed and then I got up and then I came back to bed. Anyway, I've been in and out of bed a couple of times today. And Ana says, my face hurts because of a broken tooth. I'm avoiding hot or cold. That blows. That's not good. And then she says, so frustrated with neutral temperature food. I would imagine so. It is neither hot nor cold and therefore spit it out. That's in the Bible. But I think it was supposed to be a metaphor. But I choose to take it literally. And I just go spitting lukewarm tea all over everyone. And then I tell them it's in the Bible, and they can't argue with that. So, I guess Abby Jean's 10 minutes of yuck is going to be thinking about the coffee table, and Anna's 10 minutes of yuck is going to be eating room temperature oatmeal. Abby Jean says, okay, let's do it. She's ready. Okay, so we're going to be going until 18 minutes past the hour. Oh, I forgot to get the link for the river. 105.9. Variety from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but mostly from the 70s. Okay. Copy. Okay, here's the link for the river, 105.9. And we are sprinting until I'm going to make it 19 minutes past the hour. Okay, 10 minutes starts now. Okay. Okay, we're back. And Anna says, Dad is going to get some Whopper Jr. I also have general household chores to do, but I am in no shape. Ooh, I mean, not sorry about your household chores, but I'm sorry you don't feel up to doing it. I don't believe looking down is supposed to make me feel like my spine will snap from the tension. Yeah, I'm not a medical professional, so it's probably not a good idea for me to say, but probably not. Hi, everyone, says Paige. Abby Jean says, we did it, we did it, we did it, hooray! Okay, so, well, Anna, uh, sorry you're having issues there. That sounds very unpleasant. Welcome, Paige. We just finished our 10 minutes of yuck, and I picked up some books. I went to a library and they had a little alcove with the Friends of the Library book sale, and I bought some books, and I also got some for free, some of which are dupes for books I already have, but they were in very good condition and free, so I figured I could either share them with people. If people trust me with their home address, I can send it, or a mailing address of some description, I can send it to them. And or I can take them to Penny's bookshelf in Meriden, not Meriden, in Milford, and get 50% of the cover price in store credit. So that's that. And there are greetings going on. Abby Jean's saying hi to Paige. Paige is saying hi to Abby Jean. So if people want me to share, oh, and I got some other books that were not, that I didn't pick up today, but I have gotten since the last time we did midweek motivation. So if people want to see those or talk about their own recent book acquisitions, we could do that or not. It's so quiet. Hull, says Abby Jean. Hull indeed. I'm going to start with the free books because they're closest to where I am and easiest for me to reach. Oh, okay. Anus is. Uh, so Abby Jean said Hall. Paige says, I love seeing what books people picked up. Anus says, I'm always happy to see your treasures from the adventures outside. I went to the big outdoors world. Stormy says, since I watched Flight of the Navigator the other day, watching a documentary called Life After the Navigator, so sad how a lot of child actors end up. Oh, I know. Some do okay, but a lot of them don't. I mean, for every Scarlett Johansson, there's Todd Bridges. No, actually, for every, yeah. Anyway. And Nicole Carter says, Hall sounds great. I just picked up one up from my mailman. 3 books arrived today. Okay, well, like I said, I'm going to start with the free books because that was what I could reach easily. Okay, now this is one I have. Not anymore. Okay, so here we go. This is one. This is A Loving Scoundrel by Johanna Lindsey. It says New England author on here. I don't know when she lived in New England, but I know she's no longer living, unfortunately. And I think she had moved out of New England before her death. However, and it also, you can see this one had a free sticker. Some of the free ones didn't have free stickers on them, but they were free. And this is A Step Back. Woo! I'm using my the webcam on my laptop, and the light is all behind the laptop. So, and because of the way I'm sitting, that's why there's a bit of a shadow there. Anyway, I have this book, and like I said, because they were free, I grabbed them thinking I could either send them along to somebody or take them to Penny's bookshelf. So that is one that I do not need to keep. I have this book, but I haven't read it yet. And Stormy has something to say. I've been collecting Johanna Lindsay books, but not read her yet. Yes, step back. I think there's another Johanna. Oh, there's two more Johanna Lindsays in here. There is Captive of My Desires. This one, I own it, and I have already read it, and it is a step back, which is, it's pirates and whatnot. The safe word is Jolly Roger, because he's having a little bit of fun again. Oh, I love that step book, says Paige. Like I said, I have actually, I own it and I have read it. So, Ana says, I have some of hers as well, but have yet to read them. Maybe if I complete my set. Well, this one is from the Mallory Anderson series. That's Mallory / Anderson. It's two different families. Some of them have the surname Mallory. Some of them have the surname Anderson. It's not one person who's called Mallory Anderson. Surnames. And I think this might be as well. Yep. This is also a Mallory. Jeremy Mallory. Oh my. Oh, this sounds kind of cool. When Jeremy Mallory hires Danny, a young woman who grew up on London's streets disguised as a boy, as his upstairs maid, he secretly intends to make her his mistress. Ooh, a little bit of workplace harassment. Nice. But Danny surprises him with her dreams of becoming a refined lady and a gentleman's wife. As she transforms from urchin to elegant beauty before Jeremy's eyes, she unwittingly captivates this charming scoundrel. Now high society tongues are wagging. Who is this mysterious newcomer, and what is the truth about her past? No matter that a lifelong adversary will go to any lengths to ensure Danny's downfall, Jeremy, who vowed never to succumb to matrimony, finds his resolve weakening as he pursues a woman whose strong, passionate nature rivals his own and promises the kind of challenge a Mallory man can't resist. That was this one. So it's like a Pygmalion My Fair Lady kind of deal, only with a mortal enemy. So that one I own. I mean, I already own a copy of this, and I have yet to read it. And that's the same with Let Love Find You, also by Johanna Lindsay. Free. It does not look like this is Mallory or Anderson. This is... oh, wow. This is one of those where they don't tell you when it takes place. I'm thinking it might be Regency. I think Mallory Anderson books tend to be a little later in the 19th century. Oh, for Pete's sake. Well, when it takes place is apparently none of our business. Night Triumphant by Shannon Drake. Again, I own this, but I haven't read it yet. Again, none of my business when it takes place, but it has a very medieval look to it. And then again, it was free. This is Silhouette Intimate Moments from 2000, Night Shield by Nora Roberts. So it's like, I don't know. Category. Stormy, Shannon Drake, aka Heather Graham. That is awesome. Yeah, like I said, I actually already have a copy of this, but I haven't read it yet. So anybody wants to buddy read and you can trust me with your home address or a mailing address of some kind, then I will send it along and we can buddy read. Catherine Anderson, My Sunshine. This is a keyhole. Woohoo! Yeah, this is Ina's Books and Budgets. It's hilarious how they dress up in medieval garb with 80s hairstyles. And Abby Jean says, I noticed that too, Ina. If you Google images from the movie The Sign of the Cross which was made in the 1930s, and the women in it's supposed to take place in the very, very early Christian times, like just within the first 100 years or so of the death of Jesus. They are, well, first off, they wouldn't have been using the sign of the cross, but they are shown to be using the sign of the cross. Um, that came later in Christianity, but the women are out running around in like marcelled hair. It is they have like 30s hair and makeup, and they're supposed to be in ancient Rome. It's totally hilarious. That whole movie is just bonkers. Abby Jean's like, I noticed that too, Ana. Let's see, what does her hair look like again? Yeah, she does have that kind of big hair. She's got kind of a Loretta Lynn thing going on, maybe. Um, also, Something Dangerous by Penny Vincenzi, uh, which is super long. This is like it's over 700 pages, and it's like some kind of I don't know. Yeah, it takes place in they have twins, Adele and Venetia, who were born in 1910, and this is following them through the 20th century. And Beatrice Small, A Love for All Time. I have some Beatrice. This was another freebie. I have some Beatrice Small. I haven't read her yet, but I understand she is pretty steamy. Uh-huh. And this is from 1986. And it takes place in the late 16th century, so 1577, the reign of Elizabeth I. And one final freebie, and this is from Saturday. I went to the 149th birthday of my town library. The library I went to today is in an adjacent town. This was my home library for my hometown. And they had about 8 books, I think, and you could choose one and get it for free. And so I got a book I'd already read, Abby Jimenez, just for the summer. And I think I posted a picture of it on Instagram. And my mom saw it, and she looked up the summary of the book and decided she wanted to read it. She almost never reads romance, so she liked it well enough, but she's like, it started off so lighthearted and then it got really heavy. I'm like, that's kind of how Abby Jimenez does. Okay, we got some comments to read. Ana says, oh boy, my uncle just uncovered my like 7 times over great grandmother's dirty little secret. There's now a DNA hunt taking place in that general region to find out why our genetics don't match up. Oh, yay for family drama. Ha ha ha. Oh my. Hmm. Wow. Apparently, one of my female ancestors slipped one over on one of my male ancestors. Or maybe he did. He knew that she was expecting another man's child. I don't know. Somehow, despite no official connection, I do have some Sardinian heritage, even though there is no official genealogical record of any of my ancestors having anything to do with Sardinia. So it may have happened in the before they came to the US, more than likely, because the amount of Sardinian heritage I have is extremely, extremely small. Okay, so those are the freebies. Nicole says, my hubby is Sardinian. My long lost cousin. I was about to ask about that terrible cheese that's like illegal in most countries, but it turns out I'm remembering a Corsican delicacy. Ana says, I'm cracking up. Feel kind of bad though, because the male genetic line for what was supposed to be our grandfather died out. Oh, well. Genetic line of human beings in general is pretty robust at this time. Okay, so those were the freebies. Then I got free, gratis, and for nothing. And then I have the box of books that I paid money for. Should I haul that now, or do we want to do another half-hour sprint before we have a little reward for grinding it out for another? Oh wait, that's kind of dirty, isn't it? Anyway, they look to be in excellent condition. Yes, yeah, they are. That's why I was like, okay, if any of you all want them, I'll be happy to send them along, especially if you want to do a buddy read, or I can take them to Penny's bookshelf and get half price. Like that was why I took the Abby Jimenez book, because Penny will give me $9 store credit for this. And this one, $4 store credit. $3.50. $4. And so on. So do we want to do like a 30-minute sprint and come back for the rest of the haul? Anus says, I own none of them, but I'd be happy for more buddy read material. Okay. And Abby Jean says, yeah, well, let's sprint. I okay, yeah. Let's sprint then haul. Okay, sounds good. So this will be a 30-minute sprint. And let me get in the link for the river 105.9. And we will be sprinting until 3:06. And I think, did I mention that I was going to call a halt to this relatively early today, like probably around 4 or so, because Tea and Biscuits is doing sprints, and I can't remember if that's on B's channel or Tara's channel, but that's at 7 o'clock Eastern. So that's in about 4.5 hours. And I wanted to rest in the hopes that I'd be able to participate in that as well. Anna says, I have one duplicate for Lion's Lady by Suzanne Barclay. I bought not knowing I already have it. Okay, so we're sprinting until 7 minutes past the hour. Sprinting until 7 minutes past the hour. Okay, see you in a half an hour. Okay, and we're back. And it looks like Anna has started Flawless by Elsie Silver, and she says that she can tell from the first chapter that she is going to love Elsie Silver's books, assuming that this really is the Flawless by Elsie Silver. Anna was reading another book called Flawless, which I kept thinking was the Elsie Silver book. No matter how many times she told me, it was not. But I think this time it really is Elsie Silver. Yes, indeed, she says. Cool. I just did cataloged 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 Harlequin Presents from the early 80s. And this was after I finished an online crossword puzzle. So I am living my best life. It was Reckless I was reading. Yeah, but it was Reckless by Hannah Howell, writing as Anna Jeanette. And I kept thinking you meant the one by Elsie Silver, and you kept being like, no. And I kept going, oh, you're reading the one by Elsie Silver. And you kept going, no. And no matter how many times you told me, I didn't know. I would just no. Well, because I knew you had a copy of the Elsie Silver book, but no matter how many times, just did not sink in. Just checking something really quickly. Okay. Nicole says, I read a few more chapters of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with my students during our sprint. Lovely book. Yes, that is, yes. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is a good book. I really liked that one. So, let's see. Are we ready to take a look at some of the other books I picked up recently? Paige says, such a classic read, Nicole. It's a good one. Except for like the whole thing with the Oompa Loompas, that didn't age especially well. Sturm says, just finished the documentary. Was there like a hopeful ending at all? I mean, is he still alive? Is he starting to like recover from his childhood as a professional person? Oh, yes, please, says Nicole. Share all the books. Okay. Now, I have some books that I ordered from Amazon because I wanted them, and none of the libraries around me have them. And this is my buddy. Not really. This is a trilogy by Alexis Hall. How to Bang a Billionaire, How to Blow It with a Billionaire, and How to Belong with a Billionaire. So here's the summary. I think they're all about the same characters. Yeah, they're all about the same characters. Rules are made to be broken. If England had yearbooks, I'd probably be Ardence and Ives, man least likely to set the world on fire. So far, I haven't. I've no idea what I'm doing in Oxford, no idea what I'm going to do next, and until a week ago, I had no idea who Caspian Hart was. Turns out he's brilliant, beautiful, oh yeah, and a billionaire. It's impossible not to be captivated by someone like that. But Caspian Hart makes his own rules, and he has a lot of them. About when I can be with him, what I can do with him, and when he'll be through with me. I'm good at, oh, this is where it gets a little spicy. I'm good at doing what I'm told in the bedroom. The rest of the time, not so much. And now that Caspian's shown me glimpses of the man behind the billionaire, I know it's him I want. Not his wealth, not his status. Him. Except that might be the one thing he doesn't have the power to give me. This is MM. So if that's, I know some people don't like reading MM, and it's, not for like reasons of prejudice, but because I just have a hard time identifying with the characters. So if you're not interested in reading MM, it's not going to be for you. Ooh, says Hannah, I want to read it. Because Nicole said, yeah, oh, how fun. I'm really looking forward to try a billionaire romance. Again, it is MM and it is a trilogy. So it's and yeah, I think it is available on Kindle where it's, I don't know, maybe it's not. I wanted hard copies and it was not inexpensive. Uh, Storm says, yes, he got help and is doing a bit of acting. I've seen it look like he's been in some shorts. Okay, well, that's good. Um, at least he still hopefully he still enjoys acting. So it's not like he, you know, got completely just hated it. I know Mara Wilson, who played Matilda, and she was in some other stuff. She was saying how she would be on some sets with other child actors, and they would be so miserable because their parents were making them do it. Because even with having to set some of their earnings aside, they were still like supporting their entire family. And she said with her family, her parents would ask her all the time, "Do you want to stop doing this? Because you don't have to do this." And they set aside everything she made, not just what they were legally required to. But she said, yeah, these kids who were miserable and just totally supporting their families. That was kind of the situation with Will Wheaton from Star Trek: The Next Generation. A lot of those kids totally supporting their families. That'll mess up your family dynamic. That'll mess up your head. Yeah, that's not great. Nicole says, I'm going to try to get into Nikki Sloan's Filthy Rich Americans this summer. Might have to look into that. Okay. So those I ordered new. And then the rest of these are books I picked up this morning at the library thingamajiggy, the alcove for the Friends Library book sale. Storm says, it's sad how kids who are jealous will bully a kid actor in school. It happened to him. They made fun of him. Yeah, they get it from all sides, really. Neil Patrick Harris, I don't know that he got bullied by his peers, but he was from New Mexico. And even when he was out making Doogie Howser MD in California, he was still doing long distance learning through his school district in New Mexico. So he was, but he would go back for school functions and stuff, and when take tests and whatnot. But I think he did okay with the other kids. Ana says, I remember watching interviews and reading articles where Daniel Radcliffe discussed that by the time his role in Harry Potter came to an end, he was getting drunk just to get through the days on set. Well, yeah. I mean, that was just like, what did they make? 7 movies? 8 movies? Because didn't they split the 7th? Was it the 7th or the 6th book? 7th book got split into 2 movies, so that's 8 movies. That was like, what, 6 or 7 years of his life, which at the time was like more than a third of his life that he had spent on that freaking set, playing that same character and having all of the other pressures that come with making really good money, fairly good money when you're young. Anyway, so those were the books that I bought new. And then, like I said, I have some books I picked up today. The Geography of Bliss by Eric Weiner. And I keep looking for this book at libraries, and it keeps being like permanently checked out, or it was never returned. This is from 2008. It's nonfiction. And it was about looking at different countries and their happiness, their human happiness index, and what they do to be happy, how they conceive of happiness, what their conception of happiness is, and like how does where you live, what country you live in, what kind of climate, what kind of topography, affect your happiness. So that's what this is about. Oh, Abby Jean is going to take off early. Bye, Abby Jean. I don't know if I'll see you this evening at the other sprints, but if not, I will talk to you later. Or talk to you then, or some other later time. And Paige is like, bye. And Stormy says, bye. Or let me see. Can I get Stormy's inflection right? Bye. I can't do it. Toodles, says Nicole. Because Stormy ends her daily reading vlogs by saying, bye. It's just like this really cool, unique way she has of signing off on her vlogs, and I can't do it. Bye. So anyway, this is a nonfiction book I picked up. And oh my gosh, this is a chonker. The Shadow Sister by Lucinda Riley. She wrote the Seven Sisters books. And the Shadow Sister is the third one. The Seven Sisters, the Storm Sister, there's a Pearl Sister, a Sun Sister, and so on. Shadow Sister, there are these seven sisters who were adopted from, or six sisters, and then there's like a seventh sister or something, adopted from all over the world by this one guy who's like super duper rich. And they take place like they were, like I said, adopted from all over the world. The Shadow Sister, I think, is, gosh. Okay, this is set in England. Specifically the Lake District. And Beatrix Potter is involved in some way. But anyway, each book features a different sister from a different part of the world. I think the Storm Sister is Scottish. I think the Seventh Sister, I don't know where she's, and there's one from Kenya or Tanzania. There's one from Brazil. I mean, all over. And so it's like wealthy people running around having family secrets, and I just love that stuff. Anyway, it's my goal to acquire these. I mean, I can get them from the library, but if I can see it at a library sale for $1, I will take it. And then this is another book by Lucinda Riley, but it's not part of the Seven Sisters. This is The Angel Tree. And this is like an amnesia kind of deal, so it's very long. This is over 650 pages, and I think The Shadow Sister is 680 pages. The rest are mass markets that were like 50 cents each. And we have Stephanie Lawrence, A Buccaneer at Heart, one I don't have, and it has a step back. Oops. Trying to get it so it's not too shiny. Anyway. May 1824 is when it starts. It's The Adventurers Quartet Volume 2. The first was The Daredevil Snared, and this came out in 2016. Nice step back, says Storm. Agreed. Such a pretty step back. Let's see. We also have, I think that was the only step back. I mean, some of the freebies were step backs. That was the only one. Love Bites, an Argenau novel by Lindsay Sands. I haven't read any of them yet, but I've been picking them up when I see them if they're cheap. I think that's one of those where there are like a ton of these. Paranormal, yeah. I found one at the Dollar Tree, and so on. And then there was a novel of suspense, Into the Dark by Allison Galen. I've heard the name, but I don't think I've read anything by her. This is a step back, but it's like just has promotional quotes. 2013. And a Black Dagger Brotherhood book by J.R. Ward, The Sinner. I actually have the first novel of the Black Dagger Brotherhood checked out from the library, and that is to for a dive in or drop out. But I actually already have read one of the Black Dagger books, or a spinoff of the Black Dagger Brotherhood books, and it was kind of interesting. So I'm looking forward to starting that series. Paige says, I've read about 6 of the Lindsay Sands series, still working on it since there are over 30-ish books in that series. Yeah. Are those ones, do you actually have to read them in order or anything, or is it more like just like an interconnected world? I got the impression it's kind of an interconnected world, but you don't necessarily have to read them in order. I think the one I found at Dollar Tree was Mile High with a Vampire. Paige says, yay, Black Dagger Brotherhood. Oh, okay. And Nicole says, I love the dive in or drop out videos. Well, yeah, I've kind of stepped back. I did the first one and I haven't really done another one quite the same way yet, but I want to. It's just that I've been busy doing other things. Storm says, not read in order. Blasphemy! Paige says, they are interconnected, but you'll get the most out of them if you read them in order. Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, I have the first one out. I have that and something by Karen Marie Moaning, because I bought a book from a library sale that was by her, and I did not realize that it was like the 5th book in a series. So that's going to be a dive in, drop out, which I'm hoping to do at some point. But things keep coming up. Oh my gosh. Nicole says, that seems to be all historical romance. LOL. Don't have to, but you'll miss the nuances if you don't. I live for nuance. Paige says, Black Dagger Brotherhood you'll want to read in order. Well, I read the most recent one, which was a spinoff of a spinoff, and I was a little confused, but I had a good time reading it. Yeah. So, anyway. So those are the books I picked up most recently. I was actually down in Haddam to pick up library books for Monday's live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday. I got distracted. I'm going to catch up with the comments in a second. At 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday, which is when Stormy will be doing sprints with Sarah the Bookish Knitter and probably Tiffany the Beach Bum Bookworm. Her name is Tiffany, I think. And maybe somebody else. Anyway, but while they're doing sprints, I am going to be doing the book talk with Sock, and we are getting into a new genre, science fiction, and I will be joined by the lovely and now absent Abby Jean. So that'll be a good old time. And okay, where was I? Paige had said that the Black Dagger Brotherhood you want to read in order. Nicole said the YouTubers who read book 1 and then book 5 on purpose. That's a hoot. She's talking specifically about fantasy series. Yeah. Okay, well, it is 25 minutes past 3, and like I said, I was thinking we could finish by 4 because some of us are going to be doing the live sprints for the tea and biscuits with Tara and B. I always want to call it biscuits and tea with Tara and B because that rhymes. But that's not how they do it. It's like their names. Biscuits and tea with B. No, that's not right either. Tea and biscuits with, I don't know. I never get that right. And those sprints are starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is in about 3.5 hours, I think. Yeah, 3.5 hours. And if I have any hope of being able to participate, I'm going to need to take a nap or something. Nicole says, I'm going to head out and sneak in a nap. I binge watched Nashville until 4 a.m. because it got so good. I'm very tired. I bet. Well, let's do another half an hour sprint. So, adios, Nicole. Paige says, minutes, so I have to hop off. See you all at sprints, hopefully. Okay. Well, if everybody's got to go, then maybe we'll just call it a day instead of doing another 30-minute sprint. So, yeah. Or no, why not do another 30-minute sprint if Aina and Stormy are going to stick around? Let me know what you think, because Aina says she's still here, but up for anything. Okay, well, why don't we do another 30-minute sprint and then wrap up? And, bye, Nicole. I am still here if you want to. Up to you, says Stormy. Okay. I'm going to be reading regardless, says Aina. Okay, well, let's do another 30-minute sprint and then we'll wrap up. And then if we finish a little bit after 4, that's fine. So let's sprint until let's go ahead and go until 4 p.m. and then we can wrap up. So sounds good. Paste. There is the river 105.9 and sprinting until the top of the hour. Okay, see you in about a half an hour or so. Okay, it's just about 4 o'clock. A couple of seconds early. Hi, Lost Coffee Mug. Nice to see you here. We're actually calling it a little earlier than we usually do. That was our last sprint because we are, some of us want to attend the Tea and Biscuits sprints in about 3 hours' time. And so, yeah, sometimes we go a little longer than 4 o'clock, but not this time. Oh, dang. And while everybody was here, I forgot to mention that next week is going to be starting half an hour late at 2:30 because I something came up. So anyway, yeah, we were just doing one last sprint. It's showing me that only one person is here, but sometimes that's wrong. Anyway, so we're wrapping up. I added a bunch of books to Goodreads, and I worked on my spreadsheet for my category romances. And yeah. Ana, message retracted. Ooh. Says, I hope your day is going well. I got to chapter 4 in Flawless. Nice. Um, yeah. So I think it's the end of my broadcast day, and I'm hoping I can make it to the sprints at 7. Uh, and see everybody again there. Anna says I think I hit that on accident. I know how that goes. I know. I know. Anyway, so yeah, I got things done. Hmm. And I think I need a little bit of a nap if I have any hope at all of being there for the sprints this evening. Or at least this evening from my perspective. Have a nice nap, says Anna. I'll see you for sprints. Bye.